Glad you're with us. The agenda for today, we're going to talk about home performance and the Energy Upgrade California program more specifically. We'll take a look at how Energy Upgrade California looks to homeowners. We'll talk through benefits of program enrollment for contractors and raters. We'll go through some program participant snapshots from a few contractors who have been enrolled in the program for a number of years. We'll address any questions you have for part one, and then we'll move on to part two of the presentation. And the goal of the presentation is to provide you with everything you need to know to participate. For any sort of information that we can't cover at a detailed level today, we'll provide you with the resources and where you can find those moving forward. Some home performance trends that have been occurring over the past few years or so. A lot of work has been moving away from the new home sector and into improving existing homes. Similarly, moving away from home flipping to home improvement. From the rebate side of things, moving away from prescriptive and single measure rebates to whole house and performance incentives based on how a home performs after upgrades are completed on it. There are an increase of energy efficiency financing options, and they're becoming more attractive. From a utility scale, moving away from dumb metering to figuring out smart grid and looking at how that impacts both the utility and the customer. Flat utility rates moving to time of use billing. The concept of greening one's home as a way to reduce their carbon footprint. And again, the focus on efficiency as opposed to renewable energy as sort of the first step you can take to improve your home, reduce your consumption, and reduce your bills at the end of the day. Home performance has been developed using building science principles over the past 20 years or so, and it looks at how lots of individual components make up a system or a whole house system, and how those can begin to address failing points within our homes as traditionally built. So looking at improving indoor air quality, reducing energy consumption, improving occupant comfort, and also improving the durability of a home. It's the idea that buildings are a highly complicated systems of components that must be addressed through comprehensive cause and effect analysis. So the research and in-field work that has been done over this time has led us to where we are now, and understanding that the whole house approach is the most effective way to make a home as efficient as it can be. This is a graphic used to illustrate the whole house approach by identifying multiple different systems within a home that can be improved. So starting at the attic there with stopping leaks with ceiling and insulation, keeping cool with energy efficient windows, saving water and energy with high efficiency water heaters and shower flow control devices, and saving energy with efficient heating and cooling systems. So whereas a customer in the past, may be looking at just how they can swap out any of these individual components, whole house approach says how can you replace a number of these components so that they can work together to make the house as efficient as it can be. The home performance approach involves a whole house diagnostic assessment to determine the root cause of the problem. Whether the problem is, leaky cool air moving through a building, high utility bills, even with an efficient furnace or cooling unit, starting to figure out, where the origin of these issues are, and start to rate them based on what is the issue causing the most loss, what's the most efficient way to improve it based on these systems working together. It involves qualified participants with the tools and knowledge to turn individual problems into comprehensive solutions. For our program specifically, potential to achieve 45% or higher energy savings, performance-based, based on the energy modeled after a retrofit. No more patchwork of measures, and participant-based turnkey delivery that helps walk the homeowner through the job process. So taking one contractor or one rater company kind of this one touch point who understands all of the different pieces of the home, how they work together, and making it as easy as possible for the homeowner. Energy Upgrade California is, excuse me, a statewide program, and it delivers the tools and resources that make it easy for property owners to improve energy and water efficiency, save money, increase home comfort, and help the environment. And the statewide webpage for that is energyupgradeca.org. So this is the page where you can find out about all of the different programs that fall under Energy Upgrade California and look at it from a statewide perspective. Today we're talking about the Home Upgrade Program specifically, and more specific than that, Home Upgrade Program within the PG&E and the PG&E and SoCalGas shared service territories. The goals of Energy Upgrade California are to upgrade homes throughout the state, create construction-related jobs, evolve thinking to the whole house approach, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and improve air quality and health. It involves an unprecedented level of collaboration involving partnership between the California Energy Commission and Public Utilities Commission, collaboration with local city and county governments, investor-owned utilities, and municipally owned utilities. And they all came together under the vision to create a sustained home performance industry and transform the market for energy-efficient existing home retrofits. Funding comes from a number of different places. Investor-owned utilities are one of the primary sources. Additional funding did or does continue to, in some areas potentially, come from the State Energy Program, American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, California Energy Commission administered EECBG, or Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grants, a Better Buildings Program, part of the Department of Energy, and the Employment Development Department Workforce Investment Act. Utility rebates, as you know, you're here today, so they have continued beyond 2014, and we have every right to believe that they'll continue for the next 9 or 10 years, as initially outlined by CPUC. The roles within PG&E Home Upgrade, Pacific Gas and Electric Company is the program manager for this. The program implementer is Build It Green, that's us. The Electric and Gas Industries Association, or EGIA, does play a role with enrollment and incentive processing. And of course, Renewable Funding manages the statewide website, that is energyupgradeca.org. So how does Energy Upgrade California look to homeowners? The program benefits summary that's included on a number of marketing materials. Homeowners should expect that they can make their home more comfortable, potential for their utility bills, improve home efficiency, receive rebates and incentives, take a whole house approach, help the environment, and boost their local economy. Eligibility for PG&E Home Upgrade, that is the Home Upgrade pathway of the Home Upgrade program. There are two pathways, and we'll explore those in more details later, but there's a Home Upgrade pathway and the Advanced Home Upgrade pathway. So eligibility for PG&E Home Upgrade pathway, you must be a PG&E gas and or electric customer, must be single-family detached residences only. These are existing homes, so no new construction. Property owners do not need to reside in a home, so if it is a rental property, single family, there are forms that can be completed to where the incentive, the rebate goes back to the property owner rather than the account holder in the case of a property owner and a tenant situation. Participating contractors must perform the upgrade, so in order for us to process applications, we must receive them from a contractor or rater who has gone through all of the enrollment steps through the PG&E Home Upgrade program. And proper permits must be obtained, so depending on the jurisdiction, certain types of work do require permits to be pulled, and we do require proof of those upon application submission. An important note for the Home Upgrade pathway only, if there is a home within the 9 Bay Area county region known as BayREN, for home upgrade pathway only, you will contact BayREN specifically. They have their own website and own administration of this program. But if you're within that 9 Bay Area county region and you want to do an advanced home upgrade job, you will still contact Build It Green. And for for home upgrade and advanced home upgrade outside of that 9 Bay Area county, you'll contact Build It Green either way. So just a stipulation there, if you're doing the home upgrade pathway within the 9 Bay Area counties, as exhibited here, you'll contact BayREN directly for those. And once you get onto our job submission portal and whatnot, as you begin putting in details for a job application, if you find out, well, once you get to the point where you enter the address of the home that you worked on, we do have a check to where if it's a Bay Area job and it's home upgrade, it'll let you know you'll need to contact BayREN. But so if you have any question, it's easiest to address that on the front end, contact us or contact BayREN and ask specifically. So those are the eligibility requirements for a home upgrade job, home upgrade pathway job. The eligibility for PG&E Advanced Home Upgrade Pathway are as follows. Must be a PG&E gas and or electric customer. In the instance where customers receive only one utility from PG&E, they may receive a prorated rebate amount. So PG&E will pay the specific quantity of rebate that they're eligible for the fuel that's supplied by PG&E. If you're in a PG&E SoCal Gas territory, it's treated just as if it's a PG&E job, so no proration on those. But let's say you're working around the Sacramento area and it's a Sacramento Utility District electric job, but their natural gas is supplied by PG&E. The portion of the job and the savings attributed to natural gas will be prorated and it'll be paid that way. Additionally, eligible in the Advanced Home Upgrade Pathway are 2 to 4 unit residences. So again, these are not new construction, existing homes, but single family detached and 2 to 4 unit residences are eligible. There are some different requirements for 2 to 4 units, so if you do a lot of those, be sure to reach out to us before you start working on that job and get all the details. We do have all of our 2 to 4 unit forms listed on the website as such, so when you're navigating around our document library, which we'll go through a bit later, there are lots of 2 to 4 unit specific forms that are labeled that way. You'll just want to take a look at all of those if you get into that situation. Again, property owners do not need to reside in a home. There is a form that can be submitted that is signed by the homeowner and the property owner that essentially agrees to pay the property owner rather than the account holder. It still requires participating contractors to perform the upgrades, so a contractor who's gone through all of these steps with us and is officially in our system, they're the ones who submit the applications. And again, any permits that are required to be pulled for a job submitted through this program, we do have you upload those at the time that you're uploading all other job submission documents. Guidelines on fuel switching. So scopes of work that include fuel switching, that is gas to electric or electric to gas, they're not eligible to receive incentives through the home upgrade and advanced home upgrade pathway. There are a couple ways to deal with jobs that meet that. For home upgrade, if a customer's work scope includes fuel switching, the equipment switching fuel needs to be excluded from the rebate application. So you can't take a heat pump and install a gas furnace and put a gas furnace on the home upgrade application. If you're doing 3 measures or if you're doing 4 measures and you leave off the upgrades that are attached to the fuel switching, and you're still eligible for every other measure, all of those can be included and it's no problem. For advanced home upgrade, if a work scope includes fuel switching, the upgraded equipment must be modeled as new on the existing Building Tree and Energy Pro. So if you're familiar with energy modeling, what you would do is if you're switching fuel, you would just need to include that upgrade and the type of fuel that supplies it on both the existing and the proposed side. That way it essentially eliminates it from receiving any sort of energy savings or rebate associated with it. You would have to meet all of the other program requirements, which we'll go through later, but from a general approach, that's how you deal with jobs that would include fuel switching. Okay, so getting into the home upgrade pathway, the way that rebates are determined are shown on the screen here. It might be a little bit small, so I'll read it to you, but the minimum number of points that a scope of work has to achieve to be eligible for a home upgrade rebate is 100 points. And you achieve points by selecting eligible measures, and those eligible measures each have points associated with them. So the total of those measures, it's a minimum of 3 measures, the total of those has to be at least 100, and that will make a application eligible for $1,000. For each additional 10 points you get on top of that minimum, it's eligible for another $100, and the maximum is 300 points for $3,000. For advanced home upgrade pathway, since this is the modeled savings pathway, what you would do is once you model the existing conditions of a home, submit that application, complete the work, do the testing, and model the improved conditions of the home, we would take those results and they would go through this sort of calculator, if you will. And what you need to show on that energy model is a minimum of 10% improvement over the existing conditions. That's energy savings. And that would make you eligible for $1,000. In addition to that, you would also receive 75 cents per kilowatt hour and $2 per therm for each of those individual units of energy saved. That would be added to your tiered base savings. So it would be $1,000 plus, what we call kickers for kilowatt hours and therms. If you are in certain zip codes, which are outlined on the site and will automatically come up when you're submitting a job, and you install a pool pump or AC, you're eligible for an additional $200 per pool pump and $400 per air conditioning unit. Again, that's added on top of the tiered savings and the kilowatt hour and therm kickers. Those 3 things added together gets you your final incentive amount. And one thing that's important to note is the maximum eligible incentive amount that you can advertise per program requirements is $6,500. However, if you achieve a certain amount of energy savings and kilowatt hours and therms, you can actually achieve a rebate that's higher than that. It's just the highest that you can advertise per program requirements is $6,500. So if you have any questions about that, we can talk more about it offline. But again, it's based on the modeling. It's based on the modeled number of kilowatt hours and therms saved, the pool and AC kickers, of course, in certain zip codes, and all those added together is the final rebate amount. And the rebate amount isn't determined, it isn't final until the post-installation application is approved, that we've confirmed that you've modeled everything correctly, and that we have all the appropriate forms in. Up until then, it's only an estimate, and you're much safer to estimate lower than what you anticipate rather than higher, because if you give a customer, say they're going to get 5,000, they only get 3. That's an amount that we cannot pay out, and the customer could be pretty unhappy about that, as you can imagine. So those are the basic ways that the rebates are calculated. Okay, we'll try to go through these pieces a bit more quickly, but it's important to understand the nuts and bolts of the rebate amounts. Program participants, that's what you all on the phone will become if you complete all the enrollment steps. You're trained for Energy Upgrade California, considered experts in energy efficiency, certified by the Building Performance Institute, and have the insurance, proper licensure. And if you're a rater, you also need a HERS whole house. That's also called a HERS 2 certification. The program website for homeowners, as we've mentioned, for the statewide page, energyupgradeca.org. From there, homeowners can plan an energy upgrade project tailored to their home, find a list of participating contractors, find out which rebates and incentives are available in their local area, and watch a video about the program. This is a snapshot of what that page looks like if you haven't visited. This is the home upgrade specific, I guess, directory once they get through it. And they'll see that there are advertisements that they can save up to $4,500. I believe this should have been updated by now to reflect the $6,500, but we've got a bit of an old image here I'll have to update. But again, these are just messages that are reinforced through the web page, through marketing materials, and then once you get to them, through that as well. This is a quick look at the contractor directory found on the statewide page. They've been going through some updates on this recently, so it may not be at full functionality right now. I know they've gone through trying to make improvements on the mapping, making improvements on how information is displayed. But as of the last time we ran this, this is what it looked like. And once homeowners go on and they select contractor directory, they can enter their zip code, select which program they're interested in. It'll bring up all of the local and regional contractors, credentials, additional services. They can email directly through that, call, find the address, etc. So what are the benefits of program enrollment to you? One of the ways that it benefits contractors specifically is it allows you to differentiate from your competition. It allows you to compete on quality, not solely on price. As you get into these bigger job sizes, you can see bigger profit margins, reduce seasonality by addressing the whole house approach and not just doing swap outs. You're looking at how the system works as a whole. Hopefully reducing seasonality and also customer callbacks as a result. And there are opportunities for you to train employees to increase professionalism and ideally reduce turnover. For raters, it allows you to expand your professional service offerings. You also have the ability to develop your own projects directly with clients. You manage the job submission process from end to end. And it can allow you to reduce seasonality and also help develop better, more systems-based scopes of work and again, ideally increasing customer satisfaction. You're also you're allowed access to marketing collateral. These are materials that are developed for you. It's just a matter of once you become an enrolled contractor, you notify us and ask if you can get some of these shipped to you. You can provide them to customers, provide them at trade shows, wherever you think is appropriate to help steer some work your way. Some of those materials that are available, print ads and door hangers, these are all found on the online resources library on the statewide website, so the energyupgradeca.org page. This is a picture of what it looks like once you do become fully enrolled and have access to this. This is the resource library that has all of the downloads for different logos and marketing materials. And you can use this as a way, one of the documents to which you have access is a number of different logos that you can use to co-brand. So you can design your own marketing materials and apply the Energy Upgrade California logo once you become, participating contractor. You can freely promote your business, maintain your own branded look and feel, and use your own materials so you're not recreating anything, and just slapping that home upgrade logo on there to improve the ability for customers to recognize that you're part of this statewide program. That's a quick snapshot of some postcard mailers that a contractor did. You can see on the front side, it's their normal marketing material, and on the back they added the Energy Upgrade California participating contractor logo. This is a quick image of the logos that are available to you, and it's just important that if and when you decide to go that route, you glance through the participant co-branding guidelines, because there are program requirements as to how you use that logo specifically. So something to pay attention to make sure you're keeping in line with the program. So we'll talk through a few program participant snapshots in a moment here. This is contractors who have been enrolled in the program for a number of years and have a few words of wisdom as to how the being enrolled in this program impacted their business. From 2011 to 2015, there have been over 200 program participants enrolled and active. At any given time, there are around 350 applications in the pipeline. Over 9,300 applications have been approved for rebate to date. The average advanced home upgrade cost of a job is around $14,000, and the average for a home upgrade job is around $13,000. And over that time, the savings on those homes has been an average of 28% for the advanced home upgrade pathway. ABC Cooling and Heating in Fresno, they recognized that being enrolled in this program allowed them to differentiate their business and increase their margins. They saw higher average tickets once they started installing, using the whole house approach. They've gained some, what they call customers for life, reducing seasonality, and they reduced their callbacks as well. Broward Mechanical started in the late 70s as an HVAC service company and embraced building science around 2006, initially as a way to reduce callbacks. They participate in both the PG&E and SMUD programs, and once they started within the pilot program back in 2011, it was the busiest month they had seen in their company's history. The biggest challenges they saw through their transition, they know that the management must own the process. There needs to be top-down buy-in to make sure everybody's on the same page as to the quality of work being installed, what sort of messaging goes along with this, and how to really sell someone on the benefits of the whole house approach in the home upgrade program together. They needed to go slow to modify their pricing and operations. It is a bit of a shift if you're moving away from a single measure swap out to this whole house upgrade. And what they saw is that not really a challenge here, that the utility rebates validated to homeowners that the whole house is the right approach. So seeing PG&E's name and the California Public Utilities Commission, maybe even their city in some cases, getting behind this, knowing that as part of the statewide program really validated some of these scopes that they were promoting to customers. Advanced Home Energy started in 2006 as an insulation-only company, and they also expanded to the whole house approach to avoid being the low-cost bidder. They went from one crew selling $1,200 to $1,500 jobs to 7 crews selling $7,000 to $10,000 jobs. They saw through that transition that they had higher customer expectations. You're not just selling an insulation job anymore. It's a whole suite of measures that customers are paying more for and expecting, a more notable performance out of. Organizational complexity, especially as you grow so dramatically on that side, and as the roles start to change, there's additional requirements as well as just changing requirements. And initially, they had more work than they could handle, so really had to ramp up quickly and know how to keep customers happy and get to them in a timely manner. Green Home Solutions by Grupe, they created a subsidiary to specialize in energy efficiency in solar and existing homes. Did that as a way to complement home sales with upgrades. They began with 5 construction staff and moved to 20 full-time. Their challenges early on were generating volume, finding their market specifically, how this fit into their goals as a business, and also working through some of the additional paperwork and rebate processing and communication that goes along with that to the customer. So take on a new program, there's new requirements to learn, just a natural kind of challenge that comes out of that. And hopefully, some of you on the call today, you'll find that this works well for your business, and we could be telling your story, in the near future. So as we get through this, stay in touch, and if there are, challenges that you encounter or things that you see as a benefit to your company, please do communicate those to our team, and let's make a better program together as we work through this. So that gets us through this initial part of our presentation. I'm going to take a step to see if there's any questions with our team. If there aren't any questions, please do send those in the next minute or so, and we'll get them. Otherwise, we'll catch them during the second half of the questions period. So send them in or hold on to them, and we'll get to them in the next part. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's any additional questions at this point, so we'll go ahead and move to part 2. All right, so part 2, we're going to walk through the program scope, look at participant enrollment, so the steps that you'll need to go through, look through job submission and rebate processing to understand the different components and timeline on those. We'll let you know what the quality assurance and quality control stage looks like, talk through a few health and safety points to know, and then next steps for you all who are on this call. So the program scope we're getting into, we talked a bit about job eligibility. We're going to get a little more specific here about the rebate specifics. So again, keep in mind the difference between the home upgrade pathway and advanced home upgrade pathway. There is a lot of overlap, but there are some key differences that help to separate the programs in your mind that are good to keep up with. So we're talking about the PG&E home upgrade pathway rebates right now. They do not, home upgrade rebates do not cover new homes, commercial, or multifamily. This is for single-family detached residences. They do not cover single measures, so you can't just do an HVAC upgrade. They do not cover water efficiency measures, and they do not cover solar arrays. So no PV, no solar hot water. The rebates are paid to the PG&E account holder unless you specify differently when you're submitting the application. They can be assigned to the owner, the homeowner, or a contractor. You just need to submit the application with the accompanying form that's found on our document library. The main thing is that there can't be any double dipping. Can't pay the contractor and the homeowner, for example. Again, you must be a PG&E gas and or electric customer. This is for single-family detached residences, and it must be participating contractors who perform the upgrades, so someone who's gone through all of our program enrollment steps. Another mention here, if you're doing a home upgrade job within the Bay Area, the BayREN territory, the 9-county BayREN territory that we showed previously, you'll have to contact BayREN about application submission. But for advanced home upgrade in the BayREN territory, that's still billed at green. And for home upgrade and advanced home upgrade pathway, anywhere else in the PG&E service territory, that's billed at green as well. The testing requirements for home upgrade, test in and test out diagnostics appropriate to the measure and scope. So if you're doing any sort of duct sealing, you'll have to do a duct blaster. If you're doing any sort of air sealing, which is most of the scopes of work, you'll have to do a blower door and submit those numbers, test in and test out. Most importantly, and we'll repeat this, we'll try to really drive this one home, CAS testing is required, test in and test out for every job, no exceptions. So home upgrade, advanced home upgrade, doesn't matter. You have to do a test in, you have to do a test out for both CAS, that's combustion appliance safety, and any sort of diagnostic that's appropriate, appropriate to the measure and scope. And this CAS testing must be performed by a Building Performance Institute building analyst, so someone who has achieved the building analyst certification from BPI and who has also attended the one-day PG&E advanced technical training. So we will talk more about that. It'll be repeated throughout the presentation, but if you remember nothing else from this, please do remember that. Home upgrade structure, we talked a bit about the incentive points. Now we'll talk about the scope of work. So incentives for home upgrade are point-based. Again, these are deemed savings, not modeled savings. So they're points-based. You must install at least 3 measures, with one of those being a base measure. Upgrades must equal a minimum of 100 points. For each additional 10 points on top of the minimum, the job is eligible for another $100. Up to $3,000. Application is submitted just once, that's after the installation, and you'll submit that through the home upgrade portal. But that one-time submittal will include the test in and the test out numbers. The eligible upgrades must be appliances specific. Let's see, appliance-specific measures require PG&E supplied fuel. So we covered that earlier. If you're in a split service territory, only the measures that require the PG&E supplied fuel are eligible for an incentive. And just disregard that second point, that's a removed requirement. So the home upgrade measures, this is the list right here. You can see in the far left column, you have your category of measures. So you know that at least one base measure is required for each scope of work, and 3 total measures are required. If you do multiple base measures, you do receive a kicker, a base measure kicker. And if you do 2, that's a 15-point kicker, or really look at $150. You do 3. That's an additional 20. So that's up to $350 additional dollars for doing multiple base measures. The flex measures down below, and you can see in the second column, the upgrade is listed. The third column, it's the technical specifications. A recent change that's important to know, it's a minimum of 15 SEER air conditioner for any scope of work there. And the points on the far right. So as you know, those points add up. Have to be a minimum of 100. Everything after that is an additional, every 10 points after that is an additional $100, up to 300 points and $3,000. So that's the home upgrade pathway. For the advanced home upgrade pathway, it must be a PG&E gas and or electric customer. And the way we deal with split service territory jobs in the advanced home upgrade pathway is that customers who receive only one utility from PG&E may receive a prorated rebate amount. Again, and if you're doing a fuel switching, that's a little bit different, but you would model that on both the existing and the proposed side of the energy model. Single-family detached and 2 to 4 unit residences, so an advanced home upgrade pathway 2 to 4 unit are included. Still existing homes, property owners do not need to reside in the home, must be a participating contractor performing the upgrade, and proper permits must be submitted. The testing requirements are a bit different for advanced home upgrade. You complete a test-in assessment before the upgrade to determine the existing building conditions, and of course do the CAS testing to make sure any gas leaks have been addressed prior to any work. You'll conduct a test-out assessment after the upgrade to confirm the energy savings, and that's once that test-out application is approved, that would confirm the rebate amount. Again, Building Performance Institute certified professional performs the combustion appliance safety testing, and that BPI individual must also have attended the PG&E Advanced Technical Training. It's a one-day training. It's offered at the PG&E Energy Center in Stockton, and it covers all of the essential components of combustion appliance safety testing and a few other pointers. This is required for all the CAS testing, and CAS testing is required at test-in and test-out for all jobs. The point structure for advanced home upgrade, you'll select a combination of upgrade measures estimated to achieve a minimum of 10% energy efficiency improvement. Minimum of 2 upgrade measures required, and there's a list of those typical measures in the participant handbook. That is linked here in this slide deck that you'll get within a week or so, but you can also go to homeupgrade.org. I think it's /resources. Otherwise, you can navigate through our tabs, and that'll take you to the document library, which has a participant handbook on it. Another difference with advanced home upgrade and home upgrade is that an advanced home upgrade application is submitted twice, before and after the upgrade. So you'd submit the test-in application, let that get approved, complete the work, and then submit the test-out. And once the test-out is approved, rebate amount is confirmed, and it takes 6 to 8 weeks to process, and they'll get their payment from there. You will submit this through the same portal as the home upgrade job, and we go through that process a bit later. There may be other incentives available, and you're free to figure out how to bundle those for the customer and advertise those. We don't have anything to do with those other incentives, so that's you're on your own for those. But based on location, rebates may apply for energy and combustion appliance safety assessments, local government efficiency programs, water utility programs, green labeling, appliance rebates, and of course federal tax credits. Okay, so now we're going to talk through participant enrollment. There are 5 main steps to becoming a program participant, and they're listed here. We'll break them out and go into them into more detail. The first step, of course, is what you have started upon today. So by the time we wrap up today, if you stick with us the whole time, you will have completed your first step, and that's the mandatory participation workshop. So again, thanks for joining us. Congratulations, and hopefully we'll be seeing you through the whole process. Step 2 is to gather and provide proof of all of your participant eligibility requirements. They're listed all here. I'll go through them individually next, so I won't detail them yet. Some of the participant program requirement comparisons. So if you're applying to home upgrade only, or advanced home upgrade and home upgrade, or applying as a rater, you have slightly different requirements. And it's good to know what those are, and it's good for you to begin tracking these documents down. But I will let you know that the enrollment portal asks for all of these. It provides all of the specific requirements, and it doesn't allow you to move forward with your enrollment application until you've provided them sufficiently. So, going through this today gives you kind of the initial. If you have questions as you're going through it, go ahead and get started enrolling and submit those through the home upgrade enrollment portal. We also have some email addresses later that we'll share with you for any one-off questions you do have. But for home upgrade and advanced home upgrade, CSLB license is required. For home upgrade the home upgrade pathway, you either need a Class B general building license or a C license appropriate to the scope and installation. For advanced home upgrade, you have to have a B license. The insurance requirements are the same for home upgrade and advanced. General liability, business auto, workers' comp, and bonding. 2 years of relevant work experience for both. The training is slightly different. So for home upgrade, you must have the participation workshop, and there is a home upgrade 3-day, some people call it the core training. It's still free, but it is a 3-day training, and that's required in addition to the advanced home upgrade training, which is the 1-day. For advanced home upgrade pathway, participation workshop, it's recommended you take the home upgrade training, but not explicitly required. Advanced home upgrade training is required. Certifications are the same, are similar, okay, for home upgrade and advanced. BPI building analysts must perform the CAS tests and must take the advanced home upgrade training. That's required no matter what. But for the advanced home upgrade pathway, the BPI building analyst must be on staff. So if you're a home upgrade contractor, your building analyst doesn't have to be on the staff. You can subcontract that out. For advanced home upgrade, you have to have a BPI on staff, or well, this would cover both, but if you're a BPI accredited company, that works as well. And then the final step for no matter what is agreement to the terms and conditions, all of which are included on the enrollment portal. If you're here today as a rater interested in this, there is no CSLB license. Your sort of certification in lieu of that is the HERS 2 or the HERS Whole House Rater certification. You must also have a BPI building analyst certification and take the advanced home upgrade training. Insurance requirements, general liability, business auto, and workers' comp. You don't need the bonding because you will be working with a contractor who will need to have that. You don't need to show 2 years of relevant work experience, but you do have to attend the participation workshop. It's recommended you go through the home upgrade training, and it's mandatory you attend the advanced home upgrade training. And just like the other two, you do have to agree to the terms and conditions. So again, for the CSLB home upgrade, you can have either a B or a C. For advanced, you must have a B. The insurance requirements, $1 million minimum insurance for general liability, for business auto, and for workers' comp. So additionally, you must name Build It Green and PG&E as additional insured. So that's also referred to often as if you have a rider on your insurance policy, Build It Green and PG&E need to be riders on your policy. And at your enrollment, this is repeated, and they will ask for that at that point as well. 2 years relevant work experience. If you're an existing company showing financial information for the past 2 years, you know, a screenshot works, or a 2-year history for relevant CSLB license. For new companies, showing 2 years of similar work experience and 2 professional references, or if you can show proof that your business is BPI accredited, that works in lieu. This is a pretty key requirement for participation right here. Participants must represent and warrant that they will conduct background checks on employee, consultant, or subcontractors in order to participate and be approved in the program. In addition, individuals with access to the property of a PG&E customer participating in the program cannot have more than 1 DUI conviction within the last 3 years. And we do ask that you submit at enrollment a list of all of your employees who will be going into customers' homes. We'll need their name, contact information, title, etc. So once you have met all of those eligibility requirements, you're ready to enroll. You can go to homeupgrade.org/how-it-works with the hyphens in there. Alternately, you can go to homeupgrade.org and click on the Steps to Enroll tab, and that will walk you right through it. I'll show you on the subsequent screens what that looks like. You'll complete the online enrollment process through our participant enrollment and account management tool, and you'll receive a notification that your enrollment is being reviewed, it's been denied, or needs you to submit some corrections, or that it's been approved, and you'll be given at that point access to the job submission portal. So if you go to homeupgrade.org, that is the website that we at Build It Green created to help people navigate the home upgrade program. So while energyupgradeca.org is the statewide site that homeowners can go to, it's kind of geared toward anybody learning about Energy Upgrade California. The homeupgrade.org site is really geared toward program participants, i.e. contractors and raters, to provide them with program updates, provide them with training resources, and any form you need to understand the program and submit a job. So it's kind of your main program portal for any sort of information you need. When you get there, there'll be, a lot of things going on. There'll be a scrolling marquee of images and different featured directories through the site. But there will also be a few tabs at the top: how it works, get training, grow your business. Some of the important ones to make note of: this resources tab on the far right. When you click on resources and go to directory or document library, that'll take you to where all of our program paperwork and documents and forms are. So anything you need to submit a job should be there. This page, however, we're talking about enrollment right now, so I won't get too far ahead of myself, but if you click on how it works, there will be, that'll take you down to a Steps to Enroll tab, or if you just click on it, generally it'll take you here. You see it'll list very generally what the different steps are in order to start in the program. If you need more information, you can click on the enrollment requirements, click on the view requirements, get trained, learn more, etc., etc. Or you can click right up here on the upper right, Enroll Today. And if you do that, click on Enroll Now, it'll take you to this page, which will take you to where you can get started to sign up to enroll. Once you've done that, you can go here and enter your username and password. But if this is your first time going there, you click on Get Started, and it would take you to where you can enter a username, password, and basically get the ball rolling to enroll. Again, it'll walk you through and ask you to upload documents for all of the required documents. Those include the signed participation agreement, contractor's license information, the evidence of being in business for 2 years, copies of certification ID for all BPI certified employees and for all HERS 2 certified employees. It's worth knowing we need both the front and back of both of those cards. It'll ask you to enter the information as well, so we'll have it. Certificates of insurance, list of employees with access to customer homes that I mentioned. You'll verify the authorization to conduct background checks on all staff and subcontractors that you'll work with, signed background check compliance certificate, and a list of sales personnel and home improvement sales registration numbers. So those are all of the key components. If you know right now that you're missing a few of those, you want to make a note and include those. But again, once you get started in enrolling, it'll remind you as well. The access to enrollment files will be limited to program administrators. That include, that's Build It Green, that's us, PG&E, of course, and EGIA, who assists us with enrollment processing. So we do not share this information other than, these 3 organizations. Any requests after that, we go to you first to ask if you want it to be shared. And the only time that would come up is if BayREN asks us if you're enrolled in both, and BayREN will ask us on occasion if we have certain documentation. We always run that by you first. We never share anything without asking you. So once you do submit your enrollment application, again, it'll be either pending, denied, or approved. Denied is if you can't meet any of those program requirements and you tell us that, yeah, you're not interested anymore. Pending will be, if we're still looking for additional documentation or it's under review. And approved, of course, is once we've approved it. So if you have any questions about this enrollment process, we've listed a telephone number here and an email. I'll give you a chance to write those down, but I'll also remind you that all of these slides will be available to you within a week. So if you want to wait for that, that's fine. And any other questions you have in the meanwhile, you can go to homeupgrade.org and find the appropriate contact. The number, though, for customer service, 866-970-7348. An email can go to enrollment@homeupgrade.org. Okay, step 4 is going through the required trainings and certifications. I went through these already, so I'll just again highlight the distinction. For home upgrade, the core training is required. It's a 3-day training. It's free. It's out at Stockton. You can sign up through our website on our library, or on our calendar. It's recommended for advanced home upgrade, but not required. Additionally, the BPI building analysts for home upgrade, they don't need to be on staff for home upgrade. We do need to know who they are, of course, and collect that information. For advanced home upgrade, the BPI must be on staff. And again, combustion appliance safety testing is done twice, a minimum of twice on each home, and it's done by a BPI building analyst who has attended the 1-day advanced technical training, and that we have documentation that they've done so. A look at what the trainings are. The home upgrade technical training is the free 3-day classroom and field training. It includes an overview of building science and the home performance approach. Again, required for all non-BPI certified participants. So anybody who doesn't have their BPI building analyst certification must attend this. And it's also recommended for lead installers and project supervisors. Helps get everybody on the same page as far as expectations in this program for conducting the whole house approach. Advanced home upgrade technical training, free 1-day, includes instruction on augmented BPI combustion appliance safety protocols and procedures and action guidelines. It also includes additional duct testing guidance that aligns with the California Energy Commission procedures. So that's a helpful component that's not included as much in BPI or the home upgrade core training. And this is required, again, for all BPI certified professionals completing the combustion appliance safety testing. So if you're unfamiliar with what this BPI is I keep talking about, Building Performance Institute, it is a professional certification provider. Provides the national standard for home performance. They have 8 professional certification options, and they accredit local BPI affiliates for conducting the training and testing. As a professional or individual, you become BPI certified, and as a company, you could become BPI accredited. Any more information on that can be found at bpi.org. This is a list of California-based BPI training providers. To find a more up-to-date list, one that's managed dynamically and includes contact information, you'll go to bpi.org and you can find out where to get training near you. So once you've gone through all of these other steps, 1 through 4 that we've gone through, you will get approved and you can begin selling jobs. You can then be listed on the energyupgradeca.org page and get access to that resource library that includes all the marketing collateral. And what you do is when you go to energyupgradeca.org and navigate to the directory, you would actually request access to the resource library, and that's how you sort of initiate being listed on the page. You would also, once you get to this point and once you're enrolled through our enrollment process, we'll give you access to the job submission application portal. And through that, you can submit home upgrade and advanced home upgrade jobs. If we have any ACQC or AC Quality Care contractors on the line that you already have access to this portal, it would just be a matter of us giving you access, on the back end to the home upgrade and advanced home upgrade sides of it. Participating raters, for those of you on the line, you will email us at Build It Green a signed rater contractor collaboration form prior to submitting your first job. Or if you're working with multiple contractors, you will submit one of those collaboration forms prior to submitting a job for that contractor. So you can work with as many as you want. We just need to have a file on form for all of those, and what we do is we actually create a different login for you for each of those so that we know which contractor you're submitting on behalf of. So now we'll talk through what the job submission and rebate process looks like. So as I mentioned, this portal, this is a URL if you want to visit. It'll be a bit boring for you right now because you haven't been granted a login, and it will essentially just take you to where you can input your information. But if you want to bookmark it for the future, that's always here. Now that we've consolidated our systems, it's the same portal for all jobs. You can toggle between home upgrade and advanced home upgrade once you do get a login and get into that page. We've got a special note here about combustion safety testing. It is a critical life safety and liability issue, extremely important to this program, and it's vital to the processing of applications and approving of jobs. The documentation needs to be clean, it needs to be accurate, it needs to be submitted on our combustion. It's actually called a test measurements form. It includes spaces for both the diagnostic testing and the combustion appliance safety testing. And it is a fillable PDF form, so we require that it's one that you download, that you complete. You can print it out if you want and give it to your staff who's going out into the field to fill it out right there, and then input it into the fillable PDF form when they get back from the office. But we do require a PDF form. It can't be a scan or a JPEG or anything like that. And it requires that combustion appliance safety issues are identified and remedied prior to rebate payment, and more specifically prior to installation on a home, prior to moving forward. It's really basically once you've worked with a customer to work on a home, it's essentially the first thing in the field that should be done. As we've mentioned, it requires BPI certification and requires the one-day advanced technical training. And it's to be completed before and after the upgrade at test in and test out, and each day of the project when air sealing or duct sealing work is conducted. It includes the combustion appliance safety procedure. It includes BPI protocols augmented with NGAP. For gas leaks, if you detect a natural gas leak when you're working in a home, call the PG&E gas service representative. It's important that you, as a BPI, and as BPI who's attended that one-day advanced technical training, you need to place this call yourself. You can't leave it to the homeowner to do this because sometimes the homeowner will not follow through with that, and then it gets into a much bigger problem. So what you can do, if the homeowner is not comfortable with you doing that, you could call the GSR and you could ask them for the ticket number. And then you can hand the phone over to the homeowner who can arrange when the GSR actually comes into the home and whatnot. But that way you can track it. You can have proof that you've done it and provide that to us. but it's important that you do call that as soon as you encounter a leak. The number is listed there, 1-800-813-1975. If you're working after 5:30 p.m. or on weekends, the number is 743-5000. If you detect a propane gas leak, there is no PG&E gas service representative for that because that's not a PG&E supplied fuel. So what you need to do is have it remedied by either a properly licensed participating contractor or a properly licensed qualified technician who's contracted by the participating contractor or the propane service provider. So definitely be very aware if you're going into a home with propane of the protocol for in that region of how to correct or remedy any sort of propane leaks. Okay, so for scope of work development, again, there's a slightly different role for raters and contractors. For raters, you'll want to be identifying best energy efficiency measures, compiling the ideal combination of measures, working with the customer, and collaborating with the contractor to really craft the scope of work that's going to be very efficient, that's going to meet their needs for comfort, air quality, etc. All these things that you will have learned in your HERS training, BPI training, etc. You won't, of course, be implementing any of those upgrades since there is no licensure requirement, no bonding insurance requirement. You'll work with a contractor to do that. So once you've finished your work as a rater, you'll work with your contractor who will determine the feasibility of the ideal scope of work and execute the customer signed contract scope of work. Again, we'll need a signed rater contractor collaboration form that identifies every one of those relationships, and that's how that breaks down. All right, so we're going to get into job submission, and we're going to talk first about the home upgrade pathway. 5 main steps to this. The first step for a home upgrade pathway job is to conduct a test inside assessment. So once you have a lead, once you have somebody on the phone or you're reaching out to them and they're interested in you coming to their home, you'll want to interview the homeowner and occupant to discuss the scope of work. It's probably good before you get to that point to make sure that they are in a PG&E service territory. Make sure that if you're going through our program that they're not in one of the 9 BayREN counties. Those would be some pre-screening. And also make sure that they meet any sort of other requirements, such as they want to do more than just a swap out, et cetera, et cetera. And we actually have, there are these checklists available. They're notepad checklists that we can order for you that are already created, and you can have a set of those, stack of those sitting on a desk for whoever's making your calls or answering phones, and they can use those as sort of a pre-screening checklist to make sure you know, they're directed the right way through your business. Maybe part of your business is to do single measures and some is to do whole home, whole house. It's important to know up front that you're not advertising rebates for scopes of work that aren't eligible for it. Pretty sensitive to the program, sensitive for you know, setting expectations with your customer. You don't want to let them know about these unless they are actually eligible. So once you interviewed them, discussed the scope of work, made sure they're on board, you'll want to collect your job data, doing a visual or site inspection, taking measurements, any sort of photos, collecting utility bill data if possible. It's not a requirement of the program yet, but it is highly recommended. You'll then perform diagnostic and CAS tests. Again, the BPI building analyst will do these. That's a building analyst who's attended the one-day advanced technical training. Once you perform those CAS tests, you'll complete your data collection requirements, discuss the assessment and refine the scope of work with the homeowner. And it's at this point that you would want to address any testing combustion appliance safety issues. So calling the GSR, getting that scheduled if they can come out while you're on site, you know, the faster the better. And reducing the number of times a customer has to open up their home, you know, to somebody coming in, checking out their systems, the better. So, you know, some of the best practices, you go out to the home once you know that they're on board with this, and you get cranking on the CAS testing. That way, if you discover any gas leaks, you can call the GSR, and the GSR can be on their way while you're discussing with the homeowner their options, etc. Just makes the process a little smoother. You can be at the home then, and everybody can be there when the GSR comes. The pre-installation documents, we're just looking at the left side of the screen here. You'll have your test measurements CAS form. Again, that's the fill-in PDF. That would include all of your combustion appliance safety as well as any diagnostic required. And any supplemental documents, so the SQA form, the utility data, information, and any sort of photos of unique, oops, go back there. Any sort of photos of unique conditions within a home, so anything that might make the diagnostic data look a little strange compared to other homes. You know, if you can take photos of that and include that when you submit it to us, it helps our review team here know what's going on. Once you've done the test-in, addressed any CAS issues at that time, you'll perform the work. Contractor signs the contract with the homeowner. All the necessary building permits are pulled. Complete the work per the approved scope of work, and then you would move into your test outside assessment. Again, performing diagnostic testing appropriate to the measure and scope. Any sort of duct sealing requires a duct blaster. Any and all air sealing requires a blower door numbers. Combustion appliance safety test out, and completing the data collection requirements. It is at this point, once all the work is complete for home upgrade, you will submit all of your documentation at once through an online application. You'll submit the required documentation. If you're a rater, you also submit a rater job submission notification form in the collaboration form. Quality assurance desktop review will then review, do kind of a 3-point check, a technical review of the scope of the work, make sure the CAS is good, verify account holder information, job costs, etc. You can't have a rebate that's higher than the scope of work costs. Well, that's more important actually for advanced home upgrade. But we'll make sure that all the pieces check out. And then make sure that the safety and quality acknowledgement form is uploaded. And the safety and quality acknowledgement form is what a homeowner signs. It's needed for all jobs, and it says that, you know, I was made aware that there could be leaks in my home, and that these were tested, and that they were addressed if they were present. It's basically our way of knowing that you did actually complete the combustion appliance safety testing, that the homeowner's on board and understands, you know, the responsibilities of both the contractor and you, or excuse me, and themselves, and as far as how that fits into our program. If all those pieces check out, you will receive a rebate approval by our quality assurance team. They'll make sure that you submitted both the test in and test out CAS forms, that you included a signed scope of work, and that the SQA form, permits, and any of that additional information is all included. What happens then is, the way that these are numbered, it is slightly out of order, I would say. What happens is that the application will be put on sort of a week-long hold that will determine whether or not it gets selected by our field quality control team. So our field quality control, or FQC team, we'll go into more detail later, but they sample a certain number of jobs per contractor, per program type, to make sure that measures were installed appropriately, that measures were installed, you know, with best practices being used, sort of go through the checks to make sure we're running a quality program. And at that point, you know, if it's a home upgrade job, once all of those checks are complete and our team is good with what's gone on, it'll move into the rebate processing phase. However, if our team goes out there and they find that the measures weren't installed correctly, if the measures weren't installed with high quality, or were installed and there's actually some sort of spillage occurring still, that needs to be corrected and remedied by the contractor. And after that, and the corrections are made and we have proof of those, then it will go through our rebate processing. So after that, we would, after that, it's possible in some cases the Central Inspection Program, CIP, will select a job. So if our FQC team doesn't go out to them, CIP could still inspect them. And I think even in some cases, if it goes through our FQC and gets approved, CIP will do their own check. It's a third-party check that's outside of us. So that's kind of the final inspection piece for a job like this. And once it goes through that, the rebate will be issued. And the rebate can be issued to either the account holder, the property owner, or the contractor. If it's assigned to anybody but the account holder, there is a form that's required at job submission, and we of course need you to specify who's receiving it, and just make sure there's the account holder signed form that says, yes, I understand I'm not receiving the rebate and it's going to the contractor, etc. Homeowner surveys could be issued, and any sort of questions or concerns that customers have throughout this process, they can call our customer service line, 510-285-6222, or they can email jobs@homeupgrade.org. And similarly, as a contractor, any sort of questions you have about the job submission process, CIP, FQC, they can go to our customer service line. So that's the process for home upgrade pathway jobs. Again, application submitted once, but all the forms need to be included for test in and test out. CAS is completed by BPI, who attended the advanced training. Submitted through the portal. Payment is held until it's gone through our field quality control and CIP if applicable. For advanced home upgrade pathway, a little bit different process, and we'll take you through that. So the advanced home upgrade job submission process, there's 6 steps. And the biggest difference here is that there's a test in and a test out application submittal. For the test in site assessment, it looks pretty similar to how it does for the home upgrade pathway, with the exception that you will be developing a model. So what you would do once you've gone through the interview, collected job data, collected utility data, if possible, perform the diagnostic and CAS tests, and there's no CAS gas leaks or anything, you would discuss the assessment, refine the scope of work with a homeowner, but you would develop an Energy Pro model that takes a look at the different conditions of the existing conditions of a home, essentially. And I said Energy Pro model, but that is actually just one of now 5 options that you can use to create a model. As of the end of April, April 27th, so just a couple weeks ago, we opened up Advanced Home Upgrade to 4 different HP XML vendors. And we have information about all 5 vendors that we have on our website, homeupgrade.org. On our document library, there's a sheet that compares all 5 of them as far as different offerings, different structure of software, pricing, et cetera, et cetera. So it's up to you to determine who you think works best for you and for your business. If you're getting Energy Pro, it would be Energy Pro 5.1. It's a residential performance module. We understand it should be available for the rest of the year. After that, Energy Pro 6 may be the only way to go, in which case that currently hasn't gone through the same testing that HP XML has. So I'll try not to confuse you with all the different nuances with these software. If you do have a question about this, please give us a call. But basically, Energy Pro 5.1 is one option. Snug Pro, which is a cloud-based HPXML provider, is another option. Cake Systems, which is a cloud-based HPXML provider, is the third option. And then there are two additional software-based programs, which are Treat and Optimizer. So those are the 5 options you can use. For all of them, though, the process is generally the same. You'll input building data, you'll input building diagnostic data, and it will compute sort of, and I think, yeah, so you will also input what your proposed scope of work would be, and it would give you the projected savings from that. And once you complete the work, you would then input the new diagnostic information. It would then calculate what the anticipated rebate and savings amount would be. And we use that XML output file to compute what the rebate would be. It actually, when you submit the job and you submit the XML file, it will automatically parse that for you, and you'll see through the job submission portal how much a job is supposed to be eligible for. Again, the costs for all these are outlined. I'll need to add a slide here regarding the newly additional options. Up until about a couple of weeks ago, it was just Energy Pro, so that was the only one we could advertise. But again, Snug Pro, Cake Systems, Optimizer, and Treat are the 4 additional HPXML options. And go to our homeupgrade.org/resources, and there is a doc that compares all 5. There's free trials, I think, available for all of them. Find out what works best for you, find out what sort of functionality you need, and you'll use that to create your model. So you will submit your application through the Advanced Home Upgrade portal, which is accessed from homeupgrade.org. We showed you what that looked like earlier. And you would submit the required documentation. It would give you what the estimated rebate amount would be based on your XML test-in file. And that would go through our administrative desktop review. They'd make sure all the CAS results passed. They review the scope of work, make sure that your CAS form had all of the fields filled out, that it was in the PDF fillable form. Those are, you'd be surprised at how many jobs get returned to the contractor because they either were handwritten or is an incomplete form. So any questions you have about that test measurements form, please do call our FQC team or our desktop review team. Ask for a walkthrough of what's required, or take a walkthrough on your own, and anything you get stuck on, make note and ask our team. It will make the process go a lot faster for you and save some time and work if you get it done right the first time. Similarly, you can schedule a field mentoring session with us, and we'll talk through that later in the presentation. But assuming you submit all those pieces correctly and it passes, you'll get a notice to proceed issued by our team. And you'll get an automatically generated email. It'll let you know in your portal that it's moved on to the notice to proceed phase. You can also track that through the job submission portal. There is a dashboard that shows you all of your applications and all of their phases, so you can move them forward as needed. So now we're looking at the right side here, Advanced Home Upgrade, required at the pre-installation phase. Test measurements form that I just talked about, that's the fill-in PDF form. This should say here now XML input file and XML output file. It can be an Energy Pro file, but it could also be Snug Pro, Cake Systems, Optimizer, and Treat, as long as it's the same file for both the input and the output. Your proposal, scope of work, and any supplemental information. SQA form is important here, and especially important are any photos that show unique situation that the home is experiencing. So manometer readings showing us, if there's a gaping hole in the wall, you've got really high CFM numbers, here's what's going on, etc. Things like that are really helpful for our team, so we don't have to spend time with you wasting your time on the phone asking all these questions that you could show in a photo. The more pictures the better. Put them in a zip folder, upload them, and that'll help us understand the story. Then you would perform the work once you have received notice to proceed on the pre-installation. Contractor signs contract with the homeowner, pulls all the permits, and complete installation per the approved scope of work. At this point, you would move into test out, perform all the same tests to verify. Again, these tests are very important because not only do they confirm there's no leaks, they confirm that the home is performing as you thought it should, and it determines ultimately what sort of rebate can be expected. And of course, this will include combustion safety, as I mentioned, and it has to be done by BPI building analysts who've done the one-day technical training. You would update your Energy Pro or your HP XML model with your test out results, and then you would complete the data collection requirements. At this point, you would be issuing your post-installation rebate requests. So online job submission, the same portal you used earlier for the pre-installation. You would submit the required documentation, and it would go through our quality assurance desktop review checks. And again, you get a response from our team and an automatically generated email saying your application requires some action. So contractor action required is the phase it would enter if there's any sort of errors, any sort of missing information, etc. Double check your submissions. Make sure the CAS form is filled out entirely. If you're trying to issue to a contractor or a property owner, please do upload that form. I think we've updated our portal so it will stop you and it will not allow you to move forward if you select a payee other than account holder but don't upload the form. So you have a second check there, but with the CAS form and whatnot, you really have to make sure that you fill out all the fields. At that point, the rebate approval would be completed by the QA team, and then it would be uploaded and on our end for payment. The forms required at the post-installation, your test measurements form, your XML output file, as well as whatever the input file format would be. It's different for the different HP XML vendors. For Energy Pro, it's called a BLD file. Optimizer, I think it's called an OPT file. For others, the cloud-based, I believe it's a PDF that you'll actually use for the input, but the output will always be an XML. We would need a signed scope of work at this point. So if that was not included at the pre-install, or if there is a change order, we obviously need to have signed evidence of that, especially if it includes a eligible measure and a change in the diagnostic. And supplemental information, SQA form, if it wasn't submitted earlier, utility data if you have it, and photos of any unique conditions. At that point, the rebate's issued to whoever you selected in the portal and whoever had documentation for, if it was anyone other than the account holder. And then our field quality assurance team may sample the job. We'll talk through that process after this. Homeowner survey could be issued. PG&E CIP, Central Inspection Program, could select it. These are all possibilities that happen on a certain percentage of a job, but not all of them. Again, any questions about this, please call our customer service line or send an email, 510-285-6222, or email jobs@homeupgrade.org. And since we're wrapping up this portion of job submission, we'd like to include just a few tips for how to get your job through most successfully and most efficiently. And as basic as it is, the most effective way to do that from the start is to read and follow all directions. So especially at the start of if you're newly enrolled to this, there's a lot of paperwork and there are a lot of program documents. But if you get through those in the beginning and stick with us to understand all of the initial requirements, it'll answer a lot of your questions down the road that will take a lot longer back and forth and phone calls and emails to solve. We, of course, are always available to do that, and we want to help you with that. But if you can read through the initial program requirements and understand the basics, that's going to give you a leg up on everything. Another one is accurately completing all data collection requirements. So especially on the combustion appliance safety form, there's a lot of empty fields in there. And if you see an empty field that doesn't have a number, that's going to get returned to you. You'll need to include a number in there. And if it's a number that doesn't make sense to us, or it seems like it shouldn't fit there, there should be a note in the notes box at the bottom that calls that out and says why why it reflects how it does. Again, high CFM number, show a picture of the condition that you think is leading to that. Things like that go a long way. Accurately modeling all building features in Energy Pro or the HPXML. If you have questions about the individual, how different software options work, those vendors are available to answer your questions. They want you to use their product, so they want you to understand how to use it. So give them a call, send them an email, whatever is easiest for you. But if you have questions about how to use it, reach out to them. If you think you understand their product well enough and you just don't know how to model a unique situation in our program, give our desktop review team a call and they can walk you through that process. But again, we can't guarantee any sort of rebate amounts unless we can verify that the model is correct, and that is a step that all applications go through. Utility bill history is highly recommended. As part of what we're trying to do is market transformation and setting these rebates for scopes of work that really do improve a home. And the only way to ultimately verify that is through utility bills. And the way that you can really sell a customer and get a customer for life is to look at the pre and post utility bills on a job you did and talk through the job with them. Some of our highest performing contractors, that's a step they take, and the work speaks for itself when you take those extra measures to go through the pre and post bills. Pictures, again, that really helps our desktop review team instead of back and forths with you. As much as we'd like to talk with you throughout the day, as the more pictures we have and can understand unique conditions in a home, it just helps us process your jobs faster too. Notes, sketches, same thing, potential areas of confusion, pictures, notes, whatever's easier for you. And always double check before submitting, especially when it gets to job submittal through our portal. There isn't a cancel button. Once you've submitted, you have to give us a call and have us manually do it. That helps us maintain what jobs are in the pipeline and approve them systematically. If they were disappearing and appearing all the time on us, you quickly lose what happens. So double check your work. Make sure that you are submitting what you intend to submit. That way our questions are limited to specific pieces of your job rather than taking extra time to cancel and resubmit. Again, that streamlines it for the customer too, who's hoping to get their rebate pretty quickly after you finish the job. Managing customer expectations is vital to the success of this program as well. There are a lot of contractors who participate in this program, and it's a statewide program as well. So the better name we can keep for this program, the more we can improve it and keep it going long term. That's something that involves all of us. So the thing I mentioned about pre-screening phone calls, doing what you can to make sure that you have an eligible customer on the line. Do they, first and foremost, do they have PG&E supplied fuel? Are they interested in a scope of work that would be eligible for this program? Things like that. And the cap of rebates that you're allowed to advertise is $6,500. But you probably don't want to just be telling everybody they could get up to $6,500 if their home is just never going to get there. You know, understanding the housing stock that you're working with, understanding what type of work you can reasonably deliver, and how well you understand a model to model correctly and get the right rebate amount. Those all lead to how much a home will actually receive. So be very explicit with people that you can only provide an estimate until the application is ultimately approved, and always under-promise and over-deliver. You know, you're expected to make up the difference if you over-promise on something. There isn't any sort of contingency on our end to pay for an over-promise job. So, you know, be aware, be courteous, be reasonable in your projections, and don't guarantee any rebate amounts until you have the final say on that. For advanced home upgrade, again, estimated energy savings in the modeling can only be determined by modeling an accurate representation. If you're getting a $15,000 rebate and you're expecting to get that, but we see that you modeled an incorrect number of furnaces or something in a home, something like that, we can't guarantee that until it's all verified. So I imagine you understand, you know, that how these things work and how nuanced it can be. So you know, be conservative in those projections and make sure you understand your modeling correctly before you really make quotes on it. Also, as part of the managing customer expectations, make sure to include any combustion appliance safety repairs or corrections in the scope of work. Inform the customers in advance of the program requirement to correct CAS issues. A couple things that we get questions on: all electric home, you need to make sure a CO monitor is installed. You know, there's not an exception for an all electric home in that case. Or you're only touching the furnace in a scope of work, but it has a water heater that's gas. You're going to have to do testing on that, and if there's a leak in that gas line, you're on the hook to make sure that that is repaired and that a GSR is notified. That's BPI protocol, NGAP protocol. It falls back on that. So those kind of rule as far as you know, as far as protocol goes. So make sure you understand the requirements and that the customer knows what it means for them too. And similarly, clarifying your responsibilities for the program relative to GSR calls, and that GSRs are not available for propane, knowing ahead of time what to do with homes that have propane. So we're getting down to about 10 minutes left, and we are getting into the final section. I'll try to go through these pretty quickly so that we have time for questions and we're mindful of everyone's time. Let's go ahead and get rolling. Quality assurance and quality control. It's built in our program to ensure quality of work, verify safety, provide participant feedback and mentoring, and also evaluate the effectiveness of training. It includes multiple consumer protections, including a requirement for participant participant screening and credentials, background checks, desktop review, etc. These are all protections for the consumer, as well as making sure the program is safe and successful. Field verification based on random sampling, but if you're a new participant, the first 3 out of 5 of your jobs can be sampled. Want to make sure you're getting started on the right foot. What we recommend is that you schedule a free field mentoring that can count as your field verification. So this is basically like having an open book test. Instead of taking it on your own and just guessing and waiting, seeing what has to happen, you get up to 5 of these free. And the main requirement is that you give us as much notice as possible. You know, a few weeks is reasonable. We have a select number of verifiers that have to travel sometimes longer distances than others. So give us a notification, hey, we've got a test out coming. We'd like to do it in 2 or 3 weeks. What time do you guys have? You can bring your whole team to it. They're free. And once they're done, you can coincide them with closeout, and that'll count as your QA verification. So that way you can learn what is our team looking for, what what are the corrections that need to be made. They can be made right there and identified. Final pass-fail will be done, and that way it's not, it's not a guessing game. We want to work with you to make sure you're doing quality work and safe work. We want to make sure you have all the resources you need. We don't want to be the police. We just, have certain program requirements we have to make sure get done. So, work with us and do what you can to schedule that ahead of time. Things that will trigger field verifications, if your application anomalies, things that stick out, a customer survey shows performance issues, no CAS test, customer complaints, CIP identified issues, all of those things will require us to verify your jobs more heavily. If it really becomes an issue, they can become fee-based. So something you want to avoid, schedule those mentoring sessions early, get your first 3 out of 5 out of the way. The more passes you have after that, the less chance of us coming back out. Part of our process, we conduct a visual survey, make sure that new measures are actually new, compare the quality of the measure with program standards, again, like how well was this installed, how well is it performing. We do retests, blower door, CAS tests, duct tests. We'll review the inputs for advanced jobs, validate test out results, and we'll prepare a report and deliver that to you so you know what we did, what we found, things, what's best practices. Corrective action could be required as a result. Participating contractors are on the hook to correct combustion appliance safety. A pattern of deficient installation could result in a higher sampling rate. Typical issues that most of the time if there's a failure, here's what it comes from. It's flue spillage, it's gas leaks or uncapped gas lines, it's high carbon monoxide, and it's inadequate combustion ventilation air. Check your CVA tables when you are verifying either existing ventilation or if you're installing new, swapping something out, make sure that CVA matches the new unit. Often this will be incompatible when you get there, so make sure you know what changes have to be made. None of these things should be surprises when you get to that point. We're telling you right now this is what we're going to be looking for. This is why a lot of people fail. So make sure to revisit this and go through this before you, do your test out or before you schedule your field mentoring. There's 3 sets of scores. F score is fail. That does require extra work on your part. You need to go back out and correct it. Discrepancies may lead to a corrective action, but typically that's more of a, hey, this wasn't installed the best, here's what you could do, best practices later. Passing scores mean you did good work, but they still will call out certain things, not to reprimand you, but to provide sort of how-tos and best practices throughout the state and per industry, leading examples. Again, part of this is why we do this is market transformation and trying to really have the best quality installers for the home performance industry that, in the nation. So we want to work with you to make sure you know what things to look for. Health and safety overview. It's the most important program requirement. BPI health and safety standards and OSHA equipment safety standards all apply. This means fitted respirators, dust masks, gloves, protective equipment, etc. Combustion appliance safety at test in and test out done by a BPI building analyst who has attended the advanced technical training. No exceptions there. Hazardous materials encountered during a project should be disposed of appropriately, and CO alarms and detectors are required at test out. Every home, no exception. We went through this already. I'm not going to go through that. This is a list of some potential hazards that could be encountered. If you've done, any contracting work to this point, you're pretty familiar that these are out there. So what are your next steps? One of the most important things, now that you've gone through this, maybe this is a lot of new information and it requires, taking a look at how you can work this into your business. you know, if you're moving to the whole house approach and you were a single measure type of contractor, you do need to understand how this changes your administration of your business, your business model, your sales and marketing team, what sort of training that either you or your staff need to go through, how to set customer expectations, how to mentor and be mentored. You know, this is a kind of changing market, and there's new technologies and research that comes out all the time. Keeping up with that is something that's good to do once you get involved in this approach. If you're interested in enrolling, you can, I think there's a redirect, but I'll have to update this slide too. The new enrollment portal just came online last week. So what you'll do is you'll go to homeupgrade.org, and that'll actually redirect you to wherever you need to go. So if you type in homeupgrade.org, you're good to go. If you need to enroll, that's the screen I showed you about clicking on steps to enroll and enroll now. If you need to submit jobs, that's the screen that I believe I included about submit or track jobs. And then if you have any reason to go to the energyupgradeca.org, that's the statewide website. It's energyupgradeca.org. Once you go through all of the steps for our site, you'll want to request being included on the statewide contractor directory. These are actually the same now for home upgrade and advanced home upgrade, so I could remove this slide. It's the same process, homeupgrade.org for everything you need to know to enroll and to submit jobs, energyupgradeca.org for this participant listing directory. And rater enrollment, if you're a rater, you're on the line, it's the same process, homeupgrade.org. You'll just select either individual rater if you're just, you know, one-man shop and that's how you're enrolling. If there's more than one of you, you'll enroll as a rater company. Again, rehashing what we talked about, homeupgrade.org, start enrolling, homeupgrade.org/events, or once you get to homeupgrade.org, just find the calendar. That's how you can sign up for either the home upgrade core training or the advanced home upgrade technical training. And we also put some sales training and other just applicable types of training on there as well. So, you know, things to keep in mind of throughout the year, things that you can send your staff to that may or may not be home upgrade specific, but are helpful to making your business the best it can be. Any questions you have after today's session, enrollment, general, jobs, etc., I'll just leave the screen up for you while we discuss these other questions. I'm going to take a minute or two to field those, and we'll get right back with you. So I know we're pushing up against 4 o'clock. We'll get these questions answered, and we will not keep you past 4:05. Anything that is unanswered after that, we will send in the follow-up email. So hang tight. Okay, so we've received a couple one-off questions that Leela's been answering directly. These are sort of questions that we think giving the answers individually is probably the best route. But again, if you have any sort of questions throughout this process, please do email us, give us a call. We've got the participant hotline at top there, and the different email addresses for the different the nature of your question listed below. So enrollment questions at this stage, enrollment@homeupgrade.org. Info@homeupgrade.org is kind of a catch-all if you don't know where else to send your question. Once you get into the job submission process and you're wondering about where's the rebate, what are different forms you have to submit, jobs@homeupgrade.org is that email. And finally, any questions either before your home is QC'd, if you want to schedule a field mentoring, or if you want to find out information about field QC in general, fieldqc@builditgreen.org, and they'd be happy to answer anything you have. So thanks everyone for attending. We look forward to your participation in the program and want to make this as good of a program as it can be for you. So as you go through these steps, do reach out, ask us questions, provide feedback, give us recommendations. We take all of this into account as this is a ever-changing program to try to be the best it can be. We look forward to working with you. Again, homeupgrade.org is your main go-to from here. That's how you can get started enrolling and get your questions answered. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and we look forward to working with you. So thanks all.